United's summer transfer plan just got wild. 3 midfielders, a boyhood United fan, and 3 Premier League clubs chasing Marcus Rashford. But there's one problem that could derail the entire plan. By the time we're done today, you'll understand exactly how far this could go and why the next 2 weeks might be the most important of United's whole summer. This is RedBreak. Let's start with the name that's got everyone talking, Zaire Emery. United are reportedly preparing a bid worth £51 million for the PSG midfielder. Preparing. Not submitting yet, not agreed yet, preparing. That word matters more than people realise because it tells you exactly where United actually are in this process. They're building the war chest, finalising the numbers internally, getting ready to knock on PSG's door with something serious enough to actually be taken seriously. Now here's the thing that makes this interesting. PSG don't sell academy talent like Zaire Emery easily, ever. He's homegrown, he's been tipped internally as a future captain of that club. This isn't some fringe squad player United are picking off on the cheap. This is a name PSG built their midfield future around. Which means if this bid does land, it's not just a signing, it's a statement. Think about what that statement actually says. It says United are done shopping in the bargain bin. It says they're willing to go toe-to-toe with Europe's biggest clubs for genuine elite talent, not just squad depth. 51 million is not a number you throw around for a rotation player. Here's the open question nobody can answer yet. Would PSG even entertain it? Because losing Zaire Emery mid-project would be a huge call for their hierarchy to make. Their whole midfield is being built around continuity right now. And that's exactly why this one is going to drag before it moves. So imagine the scenario for a second. United table the 51 million. PSG reject it outright, call it insulting. Do United walk away? Or do they go again, higher, and turn this into a real saga? Right now, that's completely unknown. And that uncertainty alone is worth watching closely over the next few weeks. But Zaire Emery isn't the only midfield story moving right now. Not even close. Before we move on, wait. There's a fresh update just dropped on Tchouameni and United, and you need to hear this one. Reports say United have made a fresh inquiry for Aurélien Tchouaméni, reigniting interest in the Real Madrid midfielder. And apparently, United aren't discouraged by talk of a new Madrid contract because nothing's been officially confirmed. He fits their age profile perfectly, ideal number 6. And with Madrid's growing interest in Rodri, a late swoop isn't being ruled out, according to Samuel Luckhurst. But then, almost immediately, a completely different version lands. Fabrizio Romano says Tchouameni has already signed his new Real Madrid contract. Deal done. Which would rule out any United move entirely, despite him once being tipped as their dream successor to Casemiro. So right now, 2 conflicting stories. One says it's alive, one says it's already over. We'll keep tracking this one closely, but for now, let's get back to the rest of United's midfield plan. Because while that number's being finalised, United's other midfield plan has been quietly running in the background for months, almost unnoticed, until now. Eduardo Camavinga. United have stayed in contact with Camavinga's camp for some time. Not a fresh approach out of nowhere, not a sudden twist. A long-running situation United have kept close tabs on, patiently in the shadows, waiting for the right moment. Fresh inquiries have been made, but here's the reality check. Nothing is advanced. Nothing is close. United are still genuinely assessing whether a third midfielder even happens this window at all. Wait, third midfielder? That's right. This isn't a one-in, one-out situation. United could be adding 3 new midfield names before deadline day. 3. Let that number sit with you for a second, because that's a squad overhaul, not a tweak. Camavinga has been admired inside Old Trafford for a long time. That part isn't new. What is new is the timing. And what happens next depends on one club more than any other, Real Madrid. Camavinga's future in the Spanish capital could decide everything. If Madrid make their plans clear, one way or the other, United's move either accelerates fast or it dies completely on the spot. Picture the 2 versions of this story. Version 1, Madrid decide to build without him. United pounce immediately, and one of Europe's most talented young midfielders ends up wearing red. Version 2, Madrid dig in, tie him down, extend him, and this entire chapter quietly closes without a whisper. Right now, nobody knows which one we're getting, and that's what makes this one genuinely tense to follow. So 2 elite midfielders, 2 completely separate situations, both alive, both unresolved, both capable of reshaping United's entire engine room on their own. And that's before we even get to the third midfield name still floating around behind the scenes. Because remember, United said 3, we've only covered 2 so far, which means there's still a gap in this plan nobody has fully filled in publicly yet. Keep that in the back of your mind because it's going to matter. For now, though, let's shift away from midfield completely, because United's business this summer stretches way beyond the engine room. Let's talk wingers. Ismaila Sarr. Here's a name that's going to hit different for United fans. United have made an inquiry for the Crystal Palace winger. Standard stuff, right? Except for one detail that changes everything about this story. Sarr grew up a United fan. Not a casual supporter, a childhood one. He's previously called United his dream club. Say that again, dream club. Now United are actually knocking on his door. Reports out of France through Foot Mercato suggest Sarr isn't even United's main target at this position, but his profile, his style, his output, his versatility across the front line fits exactly what the recruitment team is scouting for right now. And that's the real story here. United aren't rushing, they're exploring, weighing multiple options before committing to just one name. Patient business, calculated business. The recruitment team clearly building a shortlist rather than chasing one obsession. But imagine that moment if it actually happens. A boyhood United fan, pulling on the shirt he dreamed about as a kid, walking out at Old Trafford for the first time. That's the kind of story that writes itself. And that's exactly why fans are already latching onto this one, even with United saying he's not the priority target. Because here's the tension underneath it. If Sarr isn't the priority, who is? United exploring several options means there's at least one name we haven't even heard yet. Another open loop, another reason to keep watching this space closely. But then there's a name that flips the entire conversation on its head. Marcus Rashford. 3 Premier League clubs are circling him right now. Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, all plotting moves for a 28-year-old who came through United's own academy, United's own pathway, from boy to first team. And here's where it gets tense. United's hierarchy do not want him going to a rival. Not Spurs, not Chelsea, not Arsenal. If Rashford leaves, the message from Old Trafford is clear. It won't be to another English club. That's a power move, a line in the sand, and it puts 3 London clubs in a genuinely awkward position all at once. Think about the politics of that for a second. 3 separate boardrooms, all wanting the same player, all knowing United would rather send him abroad, take a smaller fee, or even keep him than hand him straight to a domestic rival. That's not just a transfer story anymore, that's a chess match with pride on the line. So what happens if none of the 3 English suitors can find a workaround? Does Rashford stay and fight for his place instead? Does a European club suddenly enter and solve the problem for everyone? Right now, all 3 of those paths are still open. Which brings us to the story that's been dragging on the longest, the one fans are getting genuinely frustrated watching. Carlos Baleba. United approach Brighton. The player wants the move. Everything on Baleba's side points to yes. But then reality hits. Negotiations have stalled. Brighton are holding out for a big number. United refuse to go past £50 million. A gap. A standoff. 2 clubs staring each other down while the player waits in the middle, wondering if this actually happens before the window shuts on him completely. And here's the tension point that makes this one worth watching closely. Every day this drags, the risk grows. Risk that United walk away and reinvest elsewhere. Risk that Brighton dig in even harder, knowing they hold the leverage. Risk that another club quietly swoops in while everyone's distracted by the bigger midfield names. Stalled deals rarely stay stalled forever. They either collapse without warning or they explode into a done deal overnight. And think about what this means for the third midfield spot we mentioned earlier. If Baleba's deal collapses completely, does that number get redirected somewhere else? Does it suddenly make Camavinga more realistic? These stories aren't separate, they're connected. One falling through changes the maths on all the others. So let's zoom out for a second, because when you line all of this up, Zaire Emery, Camavinga, Sarr, Rashford's future, Baleba, you start to see the real picture. This isn't a quiet transfer window. This is United trying to reshape an entire midfield and protect their attacking core all at the same time on multiple fronts with multiple fires burning. 3 midfield targets, 1 boyhood fan winger, 1 homegrown superstar under interest from 3 rivals at once, 1 stalled deal that could still collapse or explode into a done deal any day now. The next 2 weeks could define United's entire season before a ball is even kicked in anger. And here's what makes this window feel different from recent ones. It's not reactive anymore. It's not United scrambling late, panic buying, overpaying out of desperation in the final days. This looks like a plan, a layered one. Multiple targets, multiple positions, multiple contingencies, all running at once, like the club actually knows what it wants for once. Whether that plan actually delivers is a completely different question though, because reported interest and completed deals are 2 very different things. And United fans know that best than anyone who's lived through a transfer window before. Think about how many of these stories could realistically resolve in totally different directions. Zaire Emery could still end up staying in Paris. Camavinga could sign a new Madrid contract tomorrow. Sarr could quietly fall down the list behind another name. Rashford could end up staying at United after all, and Baleba could either collapse completely or suddenly get resolved within days once the number moves even slightly. That's 5 separate storylines, 5 different outcomes, and every single one of them changes the shape of this United squad heading into the new season. So here's the real question. Out of everyone we just talked about, Zaire Emery, Camavinga, Sarr, Rashford, Baleba, who actually makes United better come August? But what do you think? Would this actually work? Let me know below.